Welcome to the Rebel Rise podcast, a place where values-driven founders on a mission for more come to connect, learn, and grow. Here, we celebrate the relentless spirit of leaders building businesses that create real good for their clients, communities, and the world. No subject is off limits, and every episode is designed to bring you clear strategy, steady leadership, and people-first operations you can actually sustain. Get ready to grow ethically, lead well, and build something that works without burning you out. Your impact journey begins right here. Let's go. My guest today is Carrie, the founder of Biscotti Box, which is a small batch biscotti company that she launched in 2024 after spending years in corporate marketing for a wireless carrier. With a deep Italian background and a lifelong love of baking, Carrie started Biscotti Box to fill her creative cup and get out of the corporate grind. What began as a side business quickly snowballed into something much bigger. She's now shipping nationwide, doing markets here in the Phoenix area, and has landed a partnership with Williams Sonoma. We're talking about what it really looks like today to bet on yourself later in life, build a product-based business from scratch, and grow something meaningful without a roadmap. Carrie, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I was super excited when you messaged me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to dive in today because what you do is similar to what I do with Benefit Bar in that it is more service based. And I haven't had a ton of guests in that niche on this side of my podcast yet. So a lot of what we focus on is more coaching based type stuff. But I want to expand our horizons over here and talk about the other side of business and what it looks like to be in a different type of industry. So I'm so excited to have you on. And I want to just start by having you tell the audience a little bit about your journey and how Biscotti Box came to be.
Sure, absolutely. So for years and years and years, I've had a lot of family and friends who always said to me, why don't you start something on your own? They knew me enough to know that I would love it. I've been a baker all my life. I come from a very strong Italian background where that is what we did all the time. And finally, like 2.5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start this as a side business. I'm very excited to try something creative, get out of kind of like my corporate world, for a bit at least. And I started the Biscotti Box.
I love it. And so what year did you found that?
2024.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's been a whirlwind of 2 years then. You guys are just past 2 years.
Yes, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And let me just say, you have like the best biscotti ever. I'm obsessed. I need more.
Thank you. One of my like taglines, if you will, is turning Biscotti skeptics into Biscotti lovers, because people, I think when they think of them, they think of like the things at Costco or the ones that they get at like Trader Joe's. And there is nothing wrong with those. However, when you throw in real ingredients made from a real Italian recipe, they taste very different. So I'm always trying to get people to at least try them. Just try.
Yeah, well, and it's different when they're not packed with preservatives. We're just so conditioned to get whatever's on the shelf and trust that more than something that's more natural.
I know.
Crazy.
It is. It's so super interesting. And just by nature, they have a really long shelf life. So you actually don't even need to put those in there. You don't even need to put preservatives in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I already love biscotti and scones are actually my two favorite baked goods because
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, and I love them because they're not as sweet.
Sweet.
Like I don't like things that are so sugary.
Me neither.
Like, listen, I do love a good chocolate chip cookie,
Right.
but sometimes there's so many chocolate chips in there, it's almost hard to finish because it's so rich.
Yeah.
So and the lemon biscottis, I have a lemon scone in my kitchen right now, and it's my favorite. But I just recorded with somebody else this morning, and I was telling them that I was interviewing you. They
Yeah.
don't know who you are, but
Right.
I was like, "She has these lemon biscottis that she made, and the lemons were from her own tree." And she was like, "What? Oh my god." But it's like, they're literally my favorite. They're literally
Yes,
my favorite
so
thing
good.
ever.
I love them too. They're so good.
Yeah,
Those are
so
so
is
good even without coffee or tea.
oh,
The
yeah.
lemon ones, they're good. Yeah.
I will have all of them for dessert. I even bought some for me at the during the holidays, and I literally ate them as, like, my dessert. That was
That's
how I
right.
had it.
So, I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So you jumped off from being a baker for were you in resorts, or what was your focus there?
No, I never had done any of this professionally. My
Oh,
corporate
okay.
job was, marketing for a wireless carrier, so, like, I really
So
have
different.
not I never did any of this professionally. So, I truly, truly, like, started this to kind of fill my creative cup because I was tired of corporate,
Mhm.
and it just snowballed.
Yeah, definitely snowballed quickly, and we're gonna get to that in just a second, but okay, so I love that. So in 2024, you were just like, "Okay, I'm going for this. Everyone's telling me I should do it."
Yep.
What a leap of faith. But
Yeah.
tell me, what was that process like? Because I know many people who wanna start their businesses, they really are scared to jump off of their corporate safe job and move into something that could feed their passion and their paycheck as well.
Right. It's totally understandable. I am in my 40s and I started it in my 40s. So it's very, very understandable to not want to leave anything stable that you think is stable and move into something that may not be. But if you're willing to put all of your trust into a company, why not put all of your trust into yourself? Right. Like that's,
Mhm.
you know what you can handle and what you can do. The actual setup of companies, I can absolutely understand how people might get a little bit worried about that, but there's so much out there now to help you with that, to help you set up an LLC, to help you set up your EIN, to help you work on all of those things to set up your company and take that leap. But I truly believe if you're willing to put all of your loyalty into a company, why would you not do that for yourself? Why would you not put your hard work into something that you manage and own and do?
That's so beautiful, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you said that because that's like the number one thing you need with your business, right? Is
Mhm.
self-trust.
Yep.
Really for anything in life in general is
Right.
just the trust that you've got your own back because that's the thing I
Absolutely.
think it's really easy for people to forget is that everything always works out. Like
Yeah.
we fall on hard
Yes.
times, things are tough,
Yes.
but as long as we keep moving forward and we're trying to iterate or try something new, like we
Yeah.
truly are always really taken care of. So I love that you were able to identify that so early. And yeah, there is so much help out there for EINs
Yes.
and LLCs. And
Yes.
also, since we're both in Arizona, just anybody else who's in Arizona looking to start a business, you can get your EIN and your LLC for under $100 combined.
Yes.
Like, I
Yes.
think it was $85 for my LLC and my EIN is free, or
Yeah.
maybe I have them reversed. So,
No, I think you're
it's
right.
so yeah, it's so
Yep.
easy to get started and if you do sales at markets, getting your tax ID is also easy, and I don't even think that costs anything, I can't
Mm-mm.
remember now.
No,
So,
your
it's
business license is like $25. Like
yeah, cottage
nothing is
license.
outrageous until you start getting to packaging and production. That's when you start having to realize how much wow, I didn't realize. But honestly, I would say before anybody took a leap is research, right? Research your market, research your product, research your competition, research all of it. And you don't even necessarily have to research it from the side of like other small businesses. I would even look into it from big businesses and research what their competition is, what their products are, what they sell their products are. You always know you can put a little more on it because it's a small business, but and you have way more expenses. But I think it's something that people should do their research first. I would never say jump straight in without having a plan. And I am fortunate in the fact that I have spent 25 years in corporate and was able to put together my own little business plan and understand the research behind it and things like that. But there's also help for people who need that too, though. There's a ton of that. Instagram.
Yeah, there's help for pretty much anything, which is
Mhm.
so nice. And I love that you utilized your background because that's something else that I notice with a lot of people when they start is they kind of forget that they have the experience at the ready and they don't leverage it in the right way because they're thinking, "Oh, well, I'm
Absolutely.
yeah, like I'm marketing and now I want to switch to baking and so now what do I do?" And we forget that we have all this marketing
Yeah.
experience and
No, it's so true. And I see that with other kind of, like small businesses or at markets. I'm sure you have too, where it's like, why are you shying away from all the things that you knew in corporate? It doesn't have to be, they don't have to be in like, they can be parallel. They don't have to be this like fight between small business and corporate. You can use your learnings from corporate into your small business. Absolutely.
yeah, and that's something that I do all the time with both of
Hmm.
my businesses. I'm constantly leveraging what I've learned there, right? And like connections are great,
Absolutely.
right? Because you're always going to
Yep.
want to build relationships and you can lean on other people, but really focusing on what you know, because just
Yes.
because what you want to dive into is completely different from what you've ever done does not mean you're not actually already set up for success.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the biggest, at least for me, the biggest hurdle was the risk, right? And I think that's probably everybody's like underlying. But we talked about this before we came on air, but you also don't know what what your longevity is at a at a corporate business either. You just never know, especially in the past, like what, 6 years now?
Yeah, it's been crazy and there's
Yeah.
always layoffs
Yes.
happening and so it's not the same environment that we used to have
No,
where, you what we were raised on, right? Like go get
that's
your
right.
pension and work until retirement.
That's
It's just
exactly
not
it's
that
just not
secure.
like that anymore. Nope, not at all.
So once you started to do all this, did you start right away with this beautiful packaging production that you have? Or I'm just curious, I'm always curious if people
For
start with
sure.
like the big business loan or if you started bootstrap because I
No,
started
bootstrap.
completely bootstrap.
No, bootstrap. I mean, it was so bad. It was like buying tons of stuff off of Amazon and stickers, which I still use, by the way. The stickers are, but like not good stickers. And it was just so bad. It was so bad. But I actually appreciate that. Like and I do think that you don't have to jump into the big brand packaging yet either. I mean, I still am not in the big brand packaging, to be honest. I still like having the control of the stickers or whatever I have. But it was not what it is today. And I'm sure when we talk again in 2 years, it's not gonna be what it is today, but that's where my, like, background comes in, where I don't mind the changes. I don't It's not a mistake, they weren't mistakes, they just evolved.
Yeah, and your business is always gonna evolve as you do, and
Mhm.
that's something I see with brand new entrepreneurs all the time is they get stuck
Yes,
in
that's what I'm
the
saying, yeah.
iteration yeah, and the creation.
Yep.
They're like, "Well, I can't really go live yet because my packaging
Right.
isn't right, or I've gotta tweak my logo. My website's not up yet." And it's like,
Yep,
"Okay, but you can sell it messy. You
that's
could even
right.
sell something
That's
before it's
right.
complete."
Yep. I very much so had to learn that too, because there was a point, there was something, I honestly think my first credit card bill was coming up. And I was like, I have got to start selling. Like I have been paying for a website for 3 months that is just sitting there. Like nobody has gone to it yet because I don't think it's perfect yet. I had been ordering stuff, testing stuff. I was like, I have to start paying for all of this at some point. So I was like, forget it. Just go. Just go.
Yeah, sometimes you just have
Yep.
to jump off.
Yep.
So when you finally did that, you start with markets?
No, I started online only, and it honestly, it was a lot of friends and family and word of mouth that I had started something, and it slowly started, people were sending gifts and things like that, and, then once I felt like I was able to kind of ship well and do things like that, I started working, like, on sample boxes, and I would send them to a lot of, like, gift curators and charcuterie people in Arizona and all, kind of different companies that I thought wouldn't be huge scale, but would still be profitable for me, right? And then that's kind of how I started getting the word out, um, of the company itself past the family and friends word of mouth at first. But yeah, so then honestly that started to pick up, and still to this day that is something I refuse to stop too. I do a lot for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and those partnerships that you leverage are so
Mhm.
important. It's something that I talk about all the time, and that's regardless of what business you're building, is starting with your warm network in your referrals. Largely, both of my businesses right now are run on that type of
Mhm.
system without having to run ads and things, but also those partnerships. Like, who are these
Yes.
other business owners that you could potentially partner with and have packages, offers, like being in
Yes.
charcuterie? Funny enough, I also partner with a charcuterist too, and we
Yeah.
do this really fun mixology event, and it allows us to, have exposure to people that we would not normally have.
It's
And
true.
so,
Yes.
yeah,
I do. So the charcuterie I thought would be great, right? I thought, "Oh, they're gonna love a local." Well, my price point was just kinda out of their range. So, mistake, right? Like, I shouldn't say mistake, like, checked off the did not work, right? But the gift curators, it opened up so much. Like, they do corporate gifts, they do real estate gifts, they do people, who looking for, little gifts for their weddings, like things like that. They bring in these gift curators for, and God, probably like 3 months ago. Well, yeah, it was in April. I did cookies and biscotti for the NCAA through a gift curator.
that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, the execs from the NCAA that were in town for the women's basketball national championship, they all got little biscotti boxes in their hotel rooms in the morning, chocolate chip cookies at night. Yeah, it was cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love it. And it's so powerful
Yeah,
for
you just
building
never know
business.
who is going to get what account. So you can't always just take on the responsibility of marketing yourself. You have to leverage other relationships. Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes they're out there doing the marketing for you, like, even if it's somebody who can't afford to maybe purchase your stuff like the charcuterist and, like,
Yeah.
put it in their
Yep.
package, you never know. You getting the NCAA is incredible, and they may refer you to another company, and the next thing you
Absolutely.
know, you've got a whole 'nother big partnership that you didn't even have to do any heavy lifting.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I mean, so I've learned a lot about their businesses, big and small. There's some that do like the NCAA, and there's some that just do, not just, I shouldn't say just, but there's some that do, gift curating for people who want to, give gift baskets out. And you end up on their site as something to choose, right? So either even if they didn't choose you, they may have contacted me or they may have ordered from me. I don't even know, right? It's just another avenue to get your name out. And that's what I started off doing. It was absolutely trying to get the word out, like in a non-conventional, placing an ad or Instagram, boosting my Instagrams, all that. Just trying to do something a little different in the hands of people.
Yeah, and I love that that was the route you picked. I guess I kinda did that in the beginning. I was gonna say I did the opposite, but also what I offer is very different. So,
Yeah.
I also went to markets second. So, I
Yeah,
guess
which is
I'm
I
I
did too. Yep.
yeah, and that's where we met at
Yes.
markets, and, for everybody listening, trying to sell mocktails at a market is really hard when you're across from all of these really cute matcha and coffee trailers, and I also didn't have a trailer. So I'm sitting out there, actually next to Carrie's booth, and I've got my little pop up bar that I use at the time for all of my events. I've got more bars now, and I'm just hoping somebody's going to come in and buy my limeades. And I barely made enough money that
I
whole
didn't.
summer.
Yeah.
It was
It was
rough, but
rough.
do you
Yep.
have the same experience or do you do fairly well? Like, what do you feel about markets when you're building your
Honestly, I
business?
think one of the biggest lessons I learned about markets is that just because you can get in one doesn't mean you should. And I think that is something you have to learn on your own because that's not what works for me is might not work for you, might not work for the person listening, right? Or the people listening. It in the same aspect of marketing where you have to kind of know your demographic that the actual markets are the same way. And I was, just paying for every market I got into. And I learned my lesson pretty fast within a few months of starting markets. I started markets about, I want to say about 8 months after I started the company. Um, and which was always the plan, to be honest. I wanted to. And even that has evolved so much. I started off selling like literally single 2 packs of biscotti and was like, I'm not making any money here. Like, this isn't working. So I changed the entire approach of how I do markets too and used it more as an avenue A to get my name out there, but also people are willing to buy more of the higher amount of your things, which is something that I learned. I see a lot of people who are just selling their 2 packs or putting their 2 packs out front of XYZ, whatever their product is. Baked goods is what comes to mind. And I, like, sell your box of 6 instead, right? You're making more, and your margin's probably a little bit more on that as well. And you're not wasting so much packaging on the 2 packs. There were so many learnings and things like that. But again, going back to markets, just because you can't get in one doesn't mean you should do it. But I've learned that, and I'm still doing markets. I still go out there every Saturday myself. I do have, because I do multiple at a time now, I do have market helpers, but that is probably my most favorite part of starting the business. I love being out there and talking to people and selling. And I even like the, commentary sometimes. Like, just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, that can definitely be fun too. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I want to highlight what you said is like just because you can do markets doesn't mean you should. Also, though, it's about taking risks and you don't know if something is going to work until you've tried it.
Tried it.
And
Absolutely.
I signed up for markets the worst time of year in Phoenix when I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this in the summer when it's 120 degrees out, which
So bad.
yeah, it was also a big mistake on my
Yes.
part, but
Yes.
I learned, I tried it. I had several friends and I have some too who are like, no, you need to go back and keep trying markets. I have so much success there. And I think if I shifted circumstances, like I've considered going back and not offering mocktails, but now that we have coffee, maybe I'll offer coffee.
Right.
Or what I've also thought about is the offerings that are more sustainable, like drinks aren't really sustainable. So if I don't sell them, I've got to throw them away at the end of the day. But what I
Absolutely.
can sell are the custom beans. I've partnered with another company to make coffee beans. So could I sell my coffee beans? Totally. Could
Right.
I sell the custom bar salts that I make now? Yes. Coffee syrups and mixer syrups? Yes. And so I thought about doing that. And so I'm bringing that up because for people who are starting businesses, you got to take these risks.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not any less risky, truly, like you already said, than working a job for somebody because you are not passionate about that in most cases, and you just never know what's going to happen with that job. But at least you're out there, you're trying to be passionate, or you are passionate, and you're trying to figure out what works. Because if you don't try and figure out what doesn't work, you're never going to know what does work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that people also look at things that, like, maybe get a little down thinking failure when it really is. And it sounds so cheesy. And could not be more. I am not this like rah rah positive person in real life, everybody. But it really is you don't it's not a failure, it's just a learning curve, right? There are so many things that I tried that I spent money on that just didn't work out, did not happen, didn't wasn't and I'm still doing it. I just launched doing tiramisu with the biscotti too. I have in the middle of summer in Phoenix, which was kind of intentional because if it takes off, at least I have some history and tenure in doing it for the holidays. This is what my thought was. But it could also bomb and I could just never do it again. But to me, it's like, okay, well, check that again. I tried, it failed. That's it.
Yeah, I saw that on your website that you
Yeah.
have tiramisu, and I also love tiramisu because also, again, not very
No,
sweet.
not
So,
super sweet. No.
yeah.
Which there's a theme there. I don't like it either. I can't. It's my I know I understand that I own a bakery company, but I don't like super sweet either.
At least you know your niche, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
again, if you're a baker who does everything, it's a little bit more difficult for me to decide, okay, I have to go to her, right? And then it's
Yes.
what do I pick? What do I try? Versus, okay, I know I like biscotti and now I go to Carrie for my biscotti. Like
Right.
I've bought from you a few times, but I haven't bought anybody else's biscotti since, and I probably wouldn't, just like
Right.
I wanna know who the best person is to go to for
For that
sourdough.
specific.
I'm gonna
Yes.
go to that person for
Right.
sourdough, and if they make all of the bread, then how do I ever reach the sourdough that she's the most passionate about? You know what I
And
mean?
that is I think you and I actually talked about this at the market we were at together, is I think that is part of you do have to try new things, but you also have to stay within your stay in your lane, if I'm saying that, like, at least somewhat not mean. But, stay in your lane because, there are and I'm not an expert, but there are so many people at markets that I see that there's no signifying culture there like, there's no single product showing what they do, what is their, like, what's their and by I don't mean culture as in background, but what is their, like, company culture? What is their significant product? Like, what are you selling? And that happens with bakers all the time, is that you'll see these tables that are just covered in everything imaginable. And in my mind, much like it's probably the same in your industry as well. How can you be good at something if you're trying all these things, right? Like, it's just hard. It's just naturally hard.
Yeah, there's a saying, and, for some reason, I'm blanking on it right now, but it's something like a jack of all trades is a master at
Master of
nothing.
none. Yep.
Yeah, a master of
Yep.
none, and
Yep.
it's really true. Now you can have lots of passions, like, I'm a very multi-passionate person, but if
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put my business out there in front of somebody, then I've gotta promote one thing, and then once
Yep.
they're in my world, sure, right?
Right.
Like, once
Right.
they know you do biscotti really well and they love that, then, "Oh, well, I also have some cookies, and I also
Right.
have
Right.
some tiramisu if you wanna try that," but
Right.
the main focus is the biscotti.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And I did start off with 2. I started off with biscotti and chocolate chip cookies. And the chocolate chip cookies were always a method for me to, like, for people to just sort of buy something because I knew chocolate chip cookies would sell, but also throw in a pack of biscotti, right? Like, that was the whole point. And after about 9 to 10 months, I stopped doing them altogether. I'll do them as one-offs and special orders for a lot of, like, the gift curators and stuff, but I don't sell them anymore on the site, at markets, or anything. It really was just a way for me to make some money while I was trying to get everybody to try my stuff, the stuff that I really wanted to concentrate on. And if you were paying attention at all, I named my company the Biscotti Box. So you knew it was going away eventually. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, we knew what your passion
Yeah,
was right
yeah.
from the beginning, and
That's right.
all of this stuff has really paid off because you have a really exciting opportunity that is official, it's live, you've
Yep,
announced it,
yep.
a really great partnership, which again, for everybody listening, build those relationships because you just, signed a contract to be inside of Williams Sonoma.
Yes, yes. So I have right now shipped actually on Wednesday. So all the freight is done. They're out of my hands, out of into the truck on their way to Williams Sonoma's shipping facility. And Yeah, they will all be branded Williams Sonoma. So the current flavor is pistachio. That's going to be in stores nationwide in fall. So when you pick up their packaged, it's actually my product inside of it. And then starting in the holiday season, which for retail is like, we all know that Costco has Christmas trees in August. So starting soon, we will be also doing a holiday collection online that is branded the Biscotti Box.
And that
Yeah.
is just so exciting. And so,
Yeah.
first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
That
Thank
is
you.
so huge.
Thank
And
you.
we talked about this a little bit offline as well. And I know I asked, like, oh, should we go into this? Right. Because you also talked about even this, like, it's huge and we want to celebrate it because this is huge for your company. But it also comes with its own little bit of uncertainty.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it sounds fantastic and it is fantastic. And I work very hard for it. I haven't been doing this long, but that doesn't make this any less of a big deal. But it's also the grass isn't always greener. It's been a lot of work. I made it's they the margin is very, very thin. It is very difficult being a small business working with a big business. And quite frankly, there's a lot of times and still uncertainty in the fact that they may not want to continue on with another flavor. We have a lot of things in the works, even moving into 2027, but that's not a guarantee. They could take it away from me. They could get this first PO from me and say, this isn't for us. So many things could go wrong. And quite honestly, so many things did go wrong in my very first. I mean, and we made tens of thousands of biscotti and we don't use any molds or, I mean, everything was truly handmade and artisan made. And my biggest fear is the customers, right? You and I also spoke about this earlier, is when you open up a package, you expect everything to be perfect inside that package, but that's not what's going to happen when you get mine. Mine are truly handmade. And I don't know if customers are going to appreciate that or not when they open this package that says Williams Sonoma, right? So there's so many what ifs, sleepless nights. I mean, gray hair, I'm sure you can see in there. Like, it's been a crazy, crazy year and a half. I started working with them a year and a half ago, which is nuts because I've only been doing this for 2 years. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's been a crazy 3 weeks. Yeah, so they sound great. I had a lot of people give me a lot of kudos and congratulations, but I'm actually working on an Instagram post now because I love working with small businesses. I love being a small business, but I would love everybody to know the reality of this contract. Yeah,
Yeah, and so thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that, and that's something that
yeah,
I expressed too, is that's huge on this is also why it's called Rebel Rise. We wanna do things
right?
differently, we wanna be honest and not just sugarcoat everything, right? Because there's uncertainty in entrepreneurship every day, no matter what you get, and nothing is ever certain, and also, just because you get this big, huge deal, or I might end up on somebody huge in the coaching and digital
Yep,
sales industry on their
absolutely.
stage, doesn't mean that it's what it's cracked up to be, because we also tend to romanticize a lot of these things until they happen. So it's also, I think it speaks a lot to, enjoy the process. Like, just enjoy where you're at, because there's always going to be another level and more stress and more deals and, yes, more sales and more expansion and all of the good things. But there's also going to be times where you're like, wow, what I hoped for is not exactly what I thought. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but it just, it's just a different level completely, and we just don't ever really know what that's going to look like until we're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people think I'm going to be rolling in a Ferrari soon, and that could not be further from the truth. I make more at markets in a couple of months than I am on this first PO. So it's not glamorous, but it's such a huge opportunity that, quite honestly, I knew I would regret if I didn't at least try. And that goes back to, full circles from the beginning, is have trust in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm sure that you have like a legal team too that's helped you with this contract. And so those are the things too, like you've got to be prepared going into this, but also,
Yes.
yeah, know that just because it's a big company, it doesn't immediately mean that you're rolling in the cash. Like
No.
it's great for experience, great for credibility, because I have a feeling if you partner with a smaller company, then you're gonna have this experience. So you'll have, more of a leg up,
Absolutely. Right.
and other people are gonna wanna do business with you because you also have that Williams
Yeah,
Sonoma tag attached to your name
absolutely.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do. It's that is part of the reason why I agree to this. And yes, there were a lot of things that you go back and forth on with them, but I to their credit, and I don't think they actually give themselves enough credit for this. A lot of what they do comes from small businesses. A lot of their packaged goods in stores are actually from small businesses, and a lot of the food items and things on their website are from small businesses. And I don't think they do themselves justice in not marketing that more, especially these days. But yeah, no, it's to their credit. They've been great at understanding that I'm a very small business.
Yeah, and I agree that I was actually having that thought as you were sharing that. I never realized that anything in Williams Sonoma was actually a small business or local. So,
Yep.
as somebody who my business also likes to do those types of partnerships, I
Yeah.
always share logos. So I kind of wonder why they don't share, have it be Williams Sonoma and Biscotti
Right.
Box.
Right,
It's very
right, or at
interesting.
least yeah, it is, I agree. I don't know, and I don't know the answer to it because when I asked, it was legalese and whatever, but, it is interesting. They are giving me the opportunity to do, like I mentioned, the holiday collection online, so that is I'm excited for that. It is great exposure too, but it's an interesting concept, and I don't know, but I didn't know until I started working with them that they because at first I was my own worst enemy when I started talking to their procurement director. I was like, you do understand, like, I want you to know I'm not Kellogg's, right? Like, I don't this isn't are you sure you want to talk to me? I was like, I don't understand. Why would you want to talk to me?
Well, somebody probably tried your product that works there and was like, "You have to try this." So that's
Yeah.
also speaks a lot to the standards that you hold yourself to, because you never know who you've been marketing to.
No, and I would also say, website, and search engine optimization, SEO, because just pay for it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. That was a lot of
Yeah.
how they found me too, was doing some list searches and different flavors, and that's what I mean by in the beginning when I said, know your product and know your competition and know what is missing in between those two things, right? And that's essentially where it got me today, is because other than maybe Trader Joe's, there weren't a lot of like different kinds of flavors of biscotti. It was always kind of the same things. And what got me in the door at Williams Sonoma was one of my holiday flavors, which was a gingerbread one,
That
because they
one was
couldn't
so
find them.
good. I
Yeah,
had
they
that one.
couldn't find them. Yeah, and that's what started it. They found them, they bought them, and they liked them.
Yeah, that's incredible. And thank you for your vulnerability with that and just sharing what the true reality is, right? Because
Mhm.
there's, never 100% good in everything, and also not 100% bad in everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
um, if in the meantime, right, obviously, if they happen to be at Williams Sonoma, I would love for them to take some pictures, to buy some of that, take some photos, tag you, but
Yes.
also you offer all of these flavors online. I was just looking, you have lots of flavors, including the lemon ones, guys. Get the lemon ones, they're so good. But where can everybody reach you if they want to get in contact with you directly? Where is best for them to order? Because obviously, I would love to have them support you directly as well.
Yeah. So you can order on our site, which is the biscottibox.com. Everything is there. We do seasonal flavors, so if it has little limited time tag next to it, you're going to have to order up on those. They don't stay for long. Lemon is a forever flavor though. It's a core flavor, so you can always find that. Yes. And then Instagram too. We are very, very active on Instagram. So the .biscotti.box. Yeah, with the little black. There's I think a couple of them. Just get those two dots in the middle. And yeah, I am always online, always answering. You can chat on the website, you can message directly on Instagram, but that is definitely the way to go.
Amazing. And does your website have markets that you'll be at, or do you offer like local pickup or anything like that?
Yes, so you can do local pickups on the website. You'll see it when you go in to place your order at checkout. It'll ask for shipping, or we do ship nationwide as well. So you can ship gifts. And we do pickups at our kitchen, which is at Scottsdale and Shea. And then we do not list the markets. I actually never thought of that. It's probably a good idea. But right now we're at Uptown only during the summer. Yeah, the one on Bethany Home and Central.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, stay tuned for that. Hopefully, you'll be adding those now. But yeah, if you guys have time to stop by that market, definitely check her out. Order all of the things online from her. And Carrie, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to make sure all of
Thank
that stuff
you.
is in the description for them so it's easy for them to
Perfect.
reach you. But I appreciate you coming on today and I loved having you for this
Oh, I'm
conversation.
so happy. It's good to see you too. Thank you so much for having me. I love this stuff. I love it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Rebel Rise podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and invite your friends to join us next week. This is your time. Now get out there and rise.